G'day people, welcome back to my channel. Alex does, and we're here for another camp in the bush. Welcome back, and thank you to those new viewers and new subscribers who've been reaching out, and everyone that's been commenting with such kind, constructive words on all the previous videos. I really do appreciate it and love hearing your thoughts. I certainly enjoy replying and getting into a bit of conversation with viewers. And welcome to all the new subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, please go down and hit that subscribe and hit the bell for notification and all that sort of stuff. You don't have to. I'm not going to certainly pressure you, but if you think you like this sort of content, seeing some fat buffoon bumbling around in the bush trying to throw together something that's loosely looking like a shelter or just something to keep the rain off my head. Anyway, trying to figure stuff out as I go and all that sort of stuff. If you think you're going to like that sort of content, hit the subscribe and the bell for notification and the thumbs up and join the conversation. Anyway, welcome back. It's a beautiful day today, a little bit overcast. There might be a little bit of rain later on, but I don't care. I'm just glad to be here. So a wet, rainy, cold day in the bush is better than a day at work any day, I say. So anyway, we're back at the site. As I might have mentioned on a previous video, last video or the video before, we've reached a point now where I've decided I am ready to move on from doing woodwork. It's been like 3.5 months of just doing nothing but woodwork. There's more to do, obviously. But yeah, I'm pretty keen to get things moving, and so I'm on to stage 2. I don't know if it's stage 2, but the next thing I want to do. So basically there's 2 major tasks that have to be done next. One is the sticks and the weaving for the wattle and daub walls, and the other one is the sandstone fireplace. And I have decided that I'm going to do the sandstone fireplace first, so that's what I'm here to do, is to make a start on that. I don't know what sort of start it's going to be, but some sort of start, working towards that. Summer is now over, which means we're only 3 months away from winter, and it's already starting to feel a little bit colder on occasion. So I really want to get that fireplace up and running. I have absolutely no idea how to do that. I'll be certainly figuring it out as I go along. I've never done anything like that before. So remember, this is the least educational bushcraft channel on all of YouTube. So if you've come here to figure out how to build a sandstone fireplace out in the bush, you might not be the right channel. Might be how not to do it. I don't know. It might turn out really good. But yeah, just lower your expectations. So basically, the plan is it's going to be basically constructed out of sandstone that I gather from around here and kind of held together with clay mud mix from what I can dig out of the ground underneath my feet. So hopefully that's going to be sufficient material to hold it all together and it doesn't just collapse under its own weight. But that's the plan. So today I do realise that it's obviously going to take a lot of sandstone. I'm not too naive about all of that. I think you imagine a fireplace that's quite considerable in size, and including I want a proper chimney that goes above the roof line there. It's probably going to take a metric ton at least of sandstone. And there is plenty of sandstone available, I think, but the sandstone deposits around here are all down near the creeks, which are around about a 300-metre radius out and around the site, which means I have to obviously haul all of that back by hand. I did, when I first started here, did a few trips with a Hessian sack full of some smaller sandstone pieces, which are all over there, and yeah, that took a bit of effort, and it's not even scratching the surface in terms of how much I'm going to need. So today I'm just going to get my chair out and probably fill my water bag up, which you've seen me do 1,000 times, and then it's all going to be about just hauling stone today, and tomorrow as well. So we might not get 2 videos out of this trip. It might just be 1, because it'll just be a time lapse of me hauling stone backwards and forwards. But then of course don't forget I'm not exactly fit in a 50-year-old body that sometimes feels like a 70-year-old body. So I don't know how much of that I'm going to be able to do. Time-wise, we've got here pretty early. Actually, it's pretty good for me. It's not even. It's almost 9:30, and I've got all my gear here and ready to go. Temperature's pretty good. Conditions are good. Yeah, like I said, might be rain later. Anyway, I'm going to stop yapping. Oh, man, I talk too much. I'm so sorry about that. I do talk too much. Let's less talk and more action, something, whatever they say. So anyway, I'm going to get on with it. Thanks for being here. Rightio, now that I've got my water in the bag all filled up, ready to go, might as well get cracking and try and make some progress while I still feel fairly fresh and not exhausted yet. What I've done, I've just I've my second backpack here that I normally bring my tools down in. I've just emptied this, so it's completely empty. I'm thinking I could probably get more sandstone carry more sandstone in the backpack than in a Hessian sack over my shoulder, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, trial and error as with everything. So I'm going to start with going and getting a couple of pieces of sandstone that I've had my eye on since the very beginning. They're a little bit bigger than the smaller pieces that I've had before, kind of slabbish like, not as big as I'd like, but if they were any bigger I'd probably struggle picking them up and carrying them. So let's go get them. Get it in my bag. Oh, it's not gonna fit. Probably take a couple more. Let's just see how we go with that, eh? Oh, let's hope this backpack lasts. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Oh. I'll be earning me beers today. Where am I going to put them? probably about, it's probably only about 30 kilos, so it's probably about 970 to go. Alright, well, I think I just figured out that my carrying capacity, or should I say the backpack's carrying capacity, exceeds my carrying capacity, because that was certainly, that last load was probably very much on my limit. I think the backpack's fine, so, alright, 2 loads, many more to go. Rightio, so as you saw there, I've done, I don't know, 3 or 4 loads. I wasn't really counting, I think it was 4 loads. So between what I've done and what I've just brought up then and what's already around the fireplace at the moment, plus I've got a small stack over there, it's enough to make a start. It's certainly nowhere near enough to do the whole, you know, like a whole fireplace and build a chimney up above the roof. But that's okay, you don't need all your materials to start the job, because this is one that, as I understand it, needs to be done in stages, right? So, because you got to think about it, you're not dealing with nice, uniform, smooth bricks and normal cement that's going to go off really quickly and stuff. You've got oddly shaped rocks that are going to leave large spaces that you then have to try and fill with clay and mud. And obviously, as you build up your layers of rock, that starts to apply a lot of downward pressure and weight on the lower structure that you've done already. So if all that clay and mud that's holding it together is all still wet, you end up just squeezing the clay out and it'll all collapse and fall over. That's I'm talking like I know what I'm doing. Like I said, I've never done this before, but that's how I understand this works. So what you've got to do is just start with your lower platform and maybe a bit of a ring or a foundation for the wall structure, with your wet clay, and then stop at that point, put a fire in it, generate some heat and get all that clay and mud baking hard before you then continue with more layers going up. So, so the next thing I want to do is clear all this out now. I'll get rid of the wood. I'll add these stones to the pile behind there and shovel out all the stuff and dirt and that, and start with a nice uniform flat surface. Then once that's done, I'll choose a spot to start digging for some clay. So let's move on. There we go, fireplace is gone. It served me well. Farewell, fire ring. But to new beginnings. So that's it's all nice and solid sort of hard packed mud in here, dirt. So I think it'll form a good foundation As for size, I don't know really. I'm just going to play it by ear. I suppose it'll come out to about here sort of thing. Who knows? So next step now is to go and try and pick a spot where I want to start digging for some clay, and I'll start digging. Right, so for no particular reason at all, I've decided this is the spot that I'm going to dig for, to hopefully find some clay. If it's anything like other spots here where I've dug holes, you go through up to about 6 to 8 inches of topsoil. Just this stuff fairly easily. Look at that, I've hit a tree root straight away. That's not a great sign. Is it just a bit of wood? No, it's a root. Hopefully I can avoid roots, but there's generally sort of 6 to 8 inches of topsoil, and then you get into this kind of clay, sandy mix type of stuff that I'm hoping is going to be okay for the job that we need to get done. Anyway, I'm going to start digging, maybe avoid that root. Alright, you can see now we're getting down to this lighter, sandier stuff. I'm just hoping it's not too sandy. Some of the other stuff I've seen around the site had a little bit more clay content, so I'm not entirely sure. But you can see I can kind of form it with my hand, and I haven't added any water to that, so there's a bit of clay in it. It's just clay and sand. So anyway, I'll play around. I'm not sure if I'm going to... I think as I go deeper, it'll get better, maybe. So with a couple of shovel loads of that stuff now over here, you can see the contrast in colour between this stuff and there. It's a lot, the lighter colour just indicates it's got a lot more clay in it. So I'm just hoping once I put some water in there and mix it round, it'll all come together. It is fairly sandy, so we'll see how we go. But definitely in that hole, the deeper I'm going, the higher the concentration of clay. You start getting this really light coloured stuff, which is going to be good. But I think this will be fine for the base. So I'm just going to get some water in there now, start mixing it up into a bit of a slurry, and spread it out, and we'll see if we can get a base layer of rock down, eh? That's about where I want it. It holds its shape. Any more than that, then I think it'll just squeeze out. Alright, so let's see how we go. Alright, don't know how I feel about those couple of bits that I've just put in. Not as pretty as I had in my head, of course. And I certainly think what we can take from those first couple of bits that I've just put in is that the stone doesn't go far and mud does not go far. So yeah, whatever expectations I had of the amount of mud I'm going to have to create and the amount of stone I'm going to have to haul up here, I think quadruple it. Still, it's a start. We'll keep going. Okay, that's pretty much the foundation done now. I'm relatively happy with that. It needs a little bit of tidying up along the front here with some extra stone and clay or mud or whatever. That's pretty much, though, I'm happy with that in terms of the outer perimeter of the fireplace. If you can imagine now a wall going around about so thick, it will leave us with plenty of space inside for a fire and cooking and all that sort of stuff. So as I mentioned before, now we really need to dry or bake this clay to set it hard. I think if you just let it to dry, air dry only, it'd probably end up just crumbling apart because there's so much sand in it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to quickly go and chop up some wood. Timing wise, it's probably a good thing that I stop now anyway. I mean, it's not that late, but you can tell it's gotten a lot darker than it was before. It's now overcast and I can hear thunder coming from that direction somewhere, so it's quite possible that's going to bring with it some rain. So before that happens, I want to get some firewood cut up and we'll start a fire on the new fireplace base and get that that mud clay mix fired and set really solid. Yeah, so, and then that way tomorrow I'll go and get a few more loads of stone and we'll start the process of building up the walls. It might only be built up a couple of inches, but we'll start that process. We'll get the fire going, and then I'm going to cook dinner. I'll try and cook dinner while there's still a little bit of light left, doing a Philly cheesesteak for dinner, if that interests you. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I'm going to cut some wood. So like I said, I'm doing Philly cheesesteak. Yeah, it's yeah. I quickly looked up the recipe and grabbed the ingredients and yeah, brought it to camp. So it shouldn't be too bad. It looks all right. Looks pretty basic. Pretty easy meal, I reckon. So let's get cracking. All right. So to start with, a bit of oil in the pan. I've just got some onion already chopped up there. Ready to go. Rightio, once you got some colour going on there on the onions, time for the meat. So I've got here a sirloin steak that I have already pre-cut into some nice thin strips. So that goes on. I've got 5 cloves of garlic that I just roughly chopped up. Put those in there. And just some seasoning, salt and pepper, some Moroccan spice, cayenne pepper. I think that's about it. That can go in. Alright, once the meat's pretty much cooked through, you then add the final ingredient, which is the the heart attack portion of this meal, which is a whole heap of cheese. This is according to the recipe, provolone cheese. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's a really mild cheese. It's I don't know. It's kind of a cross between kind of Edam and plastic cheese. I mean, it's a real cheese, but we just pop that on there and we've got to melt that through now. But it's not got a lot of, it's not a strong flavoured cheese. Look at that. So if you've done things right, what you'll end up with is a little bit of meat and onion boiling away in a vat of fat. It's gooey, cheesy. I mean, look, it looks good, but it's like, yeah, it's not the best for your health. So I'm just going to try and get some of that out, get it on a roll and eat it. There we go, look at that, eh? It's alright. Let's get into it. Right. Philly cheesesteak. Heart attack on a roll. Okay. That's not bad. Oh look, it's meat and cheese and onion, but I mean, it's good. It is good. I think you could probably develop the flavours a little bit better, maybe with your added spices. By cooking it the way I did, you kind of miss out on the flavours you might develop from pan searing a steak. So it might be nice to do the steak whole, separate, even on the grill over the fire, and then cut that up, add it to the onion, put the cheese in. But other than that, for a camp meal, if you're not too concerned about eating healthy, quick and easy, I'd probably put a tastier cheese in there if it were me. I mean, the provolone, it melts nicely, but pretty bland for a cheese. But yeah, not bad. Philly cheesesteak. Give it a go. Oh man. Right, that's today's meal over and done with. Oh, I managed to polish that off. That cannot be healthy for you whatsoever. It's so needed some, just something. Lettuce, tomato, some cucumber, just something to balance it out. It was too rich for my liking, but then, you know, that's American food for you, I guess. I'm sure it upped my cholesterol a few percentage points. Anyway, so that's done. We've had a break in the rain now, so I want to take advantage of that and try and build this fire up on that platform and get some of that mud and clay dried off. So I'll fiddle around with the fire, and I think I'm going to probably need to cut some firewood if it's going to see me through the night. So tent's set up now, and I've got a bit of firewood cut there. As you can see in the background, the fire's kicking along, no worries. So I'm going to make the most of this last little bit of light for this evening to wrap up this video for today and just say goodbye. So once again, a huge thank you for coming along. I hope you've enjoyed the content. I'm certainly glad that I've made a start on that fireplace, and I hope you're happy to see that happen too. There'll be more progress obviously on that with the video that's going to come out next week, which to me is tomorrow. But you know how it goes. Next week's video. So that's it. I'm just going to chill out now, enjoy the remainder of light, and then into the evening and the night. So unless something happens interesting, boogeyman comes out of the bush or something like that, I'll leave it there, and you will see me next week. So like I said, thanks again. If you enjoyed this content, you're not already a subscriber, please jump on that subscribe button, hit the bell for notification, smash that like button, join the conversation in comments, and you will see me next Saturday 8 AM on Alex Does. Thank you. There we go, that's the first course done.